Hi guys, this is Eliza from Eliza's Bookshelf. Today I am doing another mini review. The book that I am reviewing today is by Abby Jimenez. This is Part of Your World. It came out in April and I definitely read it right away because I love Abby Jimenez as a person and I love her books. This was highly anticipated. I ordered it as a pre-order starting from last year and I just love the cover so much. You kind of see already what it's about. There's this woman from the big city, there's this guy from a small town, there's a goat involved, and there's so much more to the story that you don't see in the cover, obviously, but let's get started. Before I forget, because I always forget, I gave this book a 4-star, I believe. I liked it, I really enjoyed it. I just don't think I liked it as much as Life's Too Short, also by Abby Jimenez. And there are a couple things about the characters that kind of irked me, so that's why I gave it a 4 out of 5. But still, I really enjoyed it. I recommend it if you love rom-coms. This is definitely rom-com, yeah. So we have two main characters. This is Alexis, this is Daniel. Alexis comes from like a well-off family, from a family of surgeons. She herself is a physician. She's an emergency room physician. One day she's coming home from a funeral, a family funeral, but she has like this nice black dress on. She has her heels. She gets caught in a ditch in her car and she is saved by a guy, and that's him, Daniel. He makes his judgments off the bat, of course. He's thinking, oh, this girl is so fancy. She probably wants nothing to do with me. She'll never pay attention to me, whatever. So he doesn't give her much thought. But he does, being the nice guy that he is, he saves her from the ditch. And next thing you know, she shows up to this diner that he frequents with his friends. And then through a bet, they go home together and they have a one-night stand that turns into something more. But she lives in this big city. He lives in a nearby small rural town, I believe. She has her own family legacy to live up to, just as he does. She's working in a big hospital in the city that she grew up in. She and her brother are doctors. Her brother is a plastic surgeon. Her parents do think more of their son than her since she's a lowly emergency room physician, they think. And so she's always had that sort of resentment or issues with her family. But since her brother is going away to live off his dreams and happiness and stuff like that with his new wife, she feels like she has this, what does she feel like? She feels like she has this need to stay at the hospital even though she's unhappy with certain things. Number one, because her ex is the chief of surgery there. Even though she's unhappy there, she feels like she has to stay at the hospital to fulfill her parents' footsteps. And so same thing with Daniel. He doesn't really have much of an issue of having that guilt of staying in the town, but he just loves his town. He is, quote unquote, the mayor. He doesn't feel like he's an actual mayor. That is just like a term people give him, but he actually does run the whole town and people come to him to get help if they want. And so he's the mayor of that town. His whole family and generations before him took care of this town. And so he has his own legacy to follow up with in his town. They start to become more than just, F-buddies. They form a relationship, but they're trying to figure out how to make it work. There are a couple things that are preventing her from diving right in. He's, of course, like, oh, I want to make this work. But she's thinking, there's the societal gap. There's this age gap. I'm 10 years older than you. There's also the distance that we have to drive. They live 2 hours away from each other. So sounds like she has a lot of reasons that she says she can't date him. It has to be something casual. But I think that's the one thing that I didn't like, because even though she says she doesn't want him to be treated as inferior because of, he's not a doctor, he's not a lawyer, none of those big shot careers or anything. Even though she says she doesn't want him to feel bad or put him down or people to judge him that way, I feel like she puts those people's opinions above her own. So I didn't like that about her. But Daniel himself, he has his own family issues. He has this deadbeat mom who went away, had him when she was 16, but she went away dealing with her own stuff. She has money problems. She's only contacting him to get money sometimes, so he has that to deal with. But overall, I think he's a pretty sweet guy. He's almost too perfect, I think. He has He has a little goat baby, a little baby goat that he's helping his friends take care of. He also has a dog named Hunter, which is my favorite of his animals. And then he has this little pig that comes around every now and then. I don't know if it's his pig or his friend's pig, I forget, but his name is Kevin Bacon. And so all of his families and his hometown is so very cute. You can see that the place that he grew up in really shaped the way he is. He's very kind. He helps each other. He helps everyone out. He's just a great person. A little too perfect, maybe. But I really liked his dog, Hunter. He reminds me of my old dog who passed away last year. But he would be flopping around. His ears are bouncing. He'd be howling everywhere. He'd get his lips stuck around his teeth. I don't know if you guys know dogs, but they always get stuff stuck everywhere. The dog even likes Alexis a lot too, and you can tell because whenever she comes visit, he just comes crashing into her. When she leaves, he's super sad and he just lays on the porch waiting for her to come home. What else? Oh, it's so funny because even though he's had Hunter for a while, Alexis is actually the one who let Daniel know that your dog's probably deaf. And he's like, why? And she said, because he responds to hand commands or hand signals and does not respond to his verbal commands. And that kind of opened his eyes and like, oh, okay, he's not just a disobedient dog. So I don't know, I just love dogs so much. The goat is talked about a lot in Abby Jimenez's book tour. And so I thought the goat was going to have a bigger role. And the goat is there, but I think the Hunter was the star of the show, aside from these two. But yeah. The other thing that I liked is Bree. Bree is Alexis's friend who was also a fellow emergency room physician. In the beginning, she has these other friends who are OB-GYN doctors, pediatricians, but they turned out to be kind of like bad friends, very judgmental of Daniel. And I don't know if they're that bad, but they're painted as being bad. But she has another friend named Bree, and I think Bree is awesome because right away she's so down to earth, I think, and she supports Daniel and tries to help him out. I liked her. I hope the next book is about Bree. I don't know who's going to be about. Maybe Bree and his friend, not Brian, because Brian's with someone else. Well, Daniel has another friend whose name I forgot, but I wonder if Bree is going to get connected with him in the next book. I don't even know if this is a series. I'll check later, but let's hope it's a series because I would continue with this. Well, to summarize, I like this book. I gave it 4 stars. It's pretty great, and I can't wait until her next book, basically. Bye.